Okay. We have someone from the UK, Arana from the UK, Mona Sawan from Lebanon, Mariam also from Lebanon. Yes, that's good. We have someone from, I cannot spell the name, but it's from Turkey, someone from Jordan. Rasha, how are you, Rasha? Rasha is from Jordan.
Hello.
And El Noor is from Azerbaijan, Randa from Lebanon, Peru. Carlos is from Peru. Hanan from Egypt. Yes. Nice to meet you, everyone. Nice to meet you. And I myself, I am in California, and it's 7 a.m. here, and it has been raining for 4 days. And I think we are good to start. Happy New Year, everyone. And I hope you are all well. And we are now ready for our nice webinar. Our webinar today is going to talk about a very, very interesting topic. And that topic is actually innovation in education. And without further ado, we will start. This webinar comes actually in a collaboration between LIfE and Beyond Borders. And LIfE is actually a platform for educators, and specifically also for not only educators, but specifically for school leaders. It is actually a platform that aims to provide opportunities for interaction, cooperation, and solidarity between all the educators across the world. It brings together school leaders to exchange knowledge, to exchange ideas, experiences, and in order to explore solutions to educational problems. And those solutions that are suitable for the society, that are contextualized, and that are most importantly also sustainable. LIfE is there as a platform of educators from across the world. As we have seen, we are a group that is coming from different countries. It comes in order to understand the problems and find solutions, to network, to publish books, publish articles, and prepare standards and guidelines, as well as to train and raise the awareness about issues, about problems, approaches, and train actually individuals and institutional organizations, all in the realm of education. That's LIfE. That's in a nutshell LIfE. And it has a very, very nice group of experts and country representatives. This webinar comes in collaboration between LIfE and Beyond Borders. Beyond Borders has been founded a couple of years ago, and it works also in the realm of education. And it is a consulting corporation that provides valuable advice and valuable expertise in the field of educational research, educational material development, and professional development. It has a very wide pool of experts also from around the world, and has worked with a lot of UN agencies and international organizations, UNICEF, UNRWA, UNHCR, World Child Holland, Plan International, just to name some of them. And now I'm happy to start. Without further ado, let's start. Now, okay. One of the very, very important lessons that I learned in my life was the very first 10 minutes when I entered university. When I entered university, I was much younger. And that was long, long ago. The very first session that was there, they told us, whenever you start with something, a new idea, you have a presentation, you want to talk about something, always think about the 6 W's, which is the why, what, who, where, when, and how, and try to answer those questions in order to provide people in front of you with a holistic idea of what you are going to talk about. And whenever I have a presentation, I always start with these ideas in order to give you an idea, even if it is a superficial one, even if it is just very quickly talking about innovation in education. It's a very, very, very big issue and a very big field, actually. Now, today we are going to talk and to focus on 3 most important do's and don'ts. And before I forget, Dr. Ibrahim is going to share on the chat box a link. And you are please required to put your name in that form that he is going to provide you the link for, so that the certificates of participation come out with the exact name you would like it to be on the certificate. Because the names that are there in the registration are sometimes nicknames, not full names, and so on. Okay, Dr. Ibrahim, you can put the link now. Okay, now let's go on. Now, innovation in education. I want you please very quickly, and let's start with an activity because I promised to do the session interactively. I want you please to unmute yourself, to raise your hand, to unmute yourself, and to tell me what is actually your definition of the word innovation. What do you think? What is innovation? Please unmute yourself and tell me your personal definition of the word innovation. What is innovation? You can unmute yourself, raise your hand as you like.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Mona.
Alaikum assalam, Hanan. Yes.
Yes. I think that innovation, for me, it is, a new development. Yes. This is what I think of innovation, and a new development that should be geared towards more success in my field. I would like it to be like this.
Yes.
Okay.
New development. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Rasha.
Yeah, hello. I think it's a new way of doing the same things, but in a new way. This is part of the definition of innovation.
Yes, yes. The word new is core. Yes. Thank you. Someone else? There's someone else who wants to? Yes. Is there someone else? Yes, Isra.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Mrs. Mona. I think from my own point of view, it's the practical implementation of ideas to find solutions for problems. So without maybe sticking with problems, we won't be innovative. So this is how I see it.
Isra said something very important. The term implementation is very important. And I will tell you why. Yes, someone else? Do we have someone else with a raised hand? Okay, now let's start. What is innovation? Innovation is, as you said, making changes and doing things in a new way. That's correct. It's doing things in a new way. However, people sometimes use innovation and invent interchangeably, and that's not correct. Innovation is something and to invent is something else. Innovation is to do something in a new way. However, what we are doing here is not always new in itself. It could be something old, but we are using it, doing it, implementing it in a new way with a new approach. Not always is innovation something 100% new. It could be something old, but done implemented in a new way. Now, I will give you some very innovative examples that would tell you what I mean. Here in the United States, there is a very big restaurant that's very successful. It's called the Boiling Crab. It came up with an innovative idea. The idea is to go back, not to look towards the future, but to go back in the past. And instead of thinking about coming with new cutlery, new decoration, new anything, no, they said we will do an innovative idea, and that is asking people actually to use their hands to eat. For they are when you go in, there is no knife, no spoon, no plates, there is nothing. They give you an apron, they ask you to use your hands to eat. People are using their hands to eat in different cultures and have been using it in the past. So this is an innovative idea. People go there actually because they like it. They like the idea of being free of cutlery, of modern ways of eating, and so on. That's innovative, an innovative idea that has been implemented and has shown success. Another one, when we, for instance, when we are talking about education, an innovative idea is asking actually children to go out of the classroom and try to learn about science in the nature, in the park, in the forest. It's innovative, going out. People have been doing that in the past, in different cultures, but it's innovative when you come with the idea in a different context. Now, people have been doing competitions for so long, for decades and decades and decades. And someone came up with Olympia. Olympia is an international, very big competition between students. The whole idea of networking, of students working together, of combining the local and the global together is not new. But the whole idea of doing in this way, in an Olympic way, in giving it that name, in having it in a specific structure has been new. Therefore, please, two things are important here. It's not coming up with 100% new idea. It could be, but is not necessarily. And number two, it has to be implemented. Therefore, what does innovation entail? It entails, in order to anything that we say it is innovative, it is creative, it has to be creative and adaptable. What does it mean it has to be creative? It has to look beyond the current doing of things, beyond our teaching, beyond our educational system, looking further, looking outside, like they say, outside of the box, outside of the way we have been thinking before. It's to develop a novel idea that helps us to do our jobs in a better way, in a more successful way, more impactful way. It could be something that is related to quantity, to quality, to value. At the end of the day, it has to be transformative. It has to be impactful. Now, the second characteristic is that it has to be adaptable. It has to be implemented. If it is not implemented, it is an innovative idea. We are not talking here about ideas that are in the mind of people. We are talking about ideas that are implemented, ideas that are in the classroom, in the school, ideas that help people to do their work better. Therefore, which means they need to be implemented, they need to be adapted. The word adapted here means people accept it, people take it up. There is an uptake of the innovation. Innovation that are not adapted, not uptaken, not implemented are just ideas. And then there is a very nice quote. People say it's Darwin. I tried to search. There is no proof that Darwin said it, but there is a quote that says it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. That is actually, and here adaptation comes again, the one that is the most adaptable, that is able to survive. And I do think we all know the very famous quote of Einstein, who once said, we cannot solve our problems with the same ideas that created them. So it has to be creative and it has to be adaptable. Okay. Now, as we said, we have two conditions. We have said it has to be creative and it has to be adaptable. Now, what is meant by innovation in education? Innovation in education is simply said, there is no definition, of course. I try to find, there is no set in stone definition about innovation in education. However, it is the spirit of openness, to think, to look with fresh eyes at the problems and to address the problems in a new way, and to try to find out and implement new ideas. Are they now teaching approaches, the usage of technology? Is it now teaching outside of the classroom, networking, whatever it is? When I'm talking about innovation in education, I'm talking about it in a global and holistic way. Why? Now let's ask our question. We dealt until now with what? Now what? Why? Why is it important? It is important because, and I do think you agree with me, and tell me if you don't agree with me in the chat, please. I think you agree with me that there is a very big need to do things in a better way. Research is telling us that in the year 2016, there was a very, very important survey that went out to 37 countries, which are the OECD countries, which are the OECD stands for the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. And it has, this platform has 37 countries that work together for sustainable development. Those countries were asked a couple of questions. One of the questions was, how much did you increase your spending per student in the last couple of years? And they found out that there was an increase of spending per student in 37 countries throughout the years 2005-2016 by 17%, which is huge, actually, 17%. Okay, during the same period, did the students do better in the PISA results? No, there was no improvement in the PISA results. Was there improvement in the learning outcomes of students? There is no proof of that in the same countries. Spending more, but results, no. They compared that with another sector, which was the health sector. The health sector was almost the same increase in spending for the development of the sector, but there is proof, and very strong proof, that there was improved efficiency, improved productivity, the health staff were more developed, the health sector was doing much better than before. That means there is a problem. That means we are not doing as expected, which means we need to find solutions. Now, and then at the same time, if you look into our world and our reality, you will find that the commercial education corporations, the apps and the games and the TV, there is such an innovative approach in attracting the students and attracting them through games, through interactive books, edutainment, etc., etc. They are doing much better than schools. That means there is a problem. Students are attracted more to learn through other devices than through going to school. We need to be innovative. There is no clear match, and I do think you agree with me, between the outcomes, the learning outcomes of our schools and the current labor market. And this is across so many countries, even some of the developing countries, which means there is a problem and we need an innovative idea. Now, I'm going to put in the chat here, I'm going to put a link. I want you to go into that link, and I want you please to go and to tell me about your definition, about your idea. What are the most important do's when it comes to innovation in education? I'm trying to find the chat. Give me a second. Here it is. Give me a second. I will put now the link. Yeah, it's a Jamboard. Please go to the Jamboard. I will open it and tell me about, please, your idea about the most important 3 do's. What are the most important 3 do's? I will stop. I will now go to the Jamboard. Okay. Here it is. Please, you can use the sticky notes that are on the right. Just grab a sticky note, click on it. A sticky note will open, write whatever you want to write on it, and then save it. And we will be able to see it. Were you able to open the Jamboard? Please tell me in the chat yes or no, or unmute yourself as you like.
There is no link on the message box.
On the chat? Here it is. Okay. Yes. Okay. Give me a second. It's everyone. Okay. Yes. Here. You cannot access it?
It's
yes.
Request access. Okay.
Now, please try again now. Please try again. I give everyone access. Just take a sticky note, write on it, stick it on the board here or on the slide. What do you think count as the most important do's when it comes to innovation in education? What do you think should be done? What is the most important do? What should we do? Can you add something now or not yet? I give everyone editing.
Hello, Doctor. We can see the PowerPoint, but we can't add something.
Yes, we need to be editors, not only viewers.
Yes, I did. Okay. I'm sorry. Done. Can you write now? Can you edit now? No, I want you to click on the sticky note and to write something. For instance, understand, blah, 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 for instance.
Yes, it's right.
Yes, we can now.
Yes, yes.
Please, doctor, can you repeat what we should write? The three do's?
I want you to think about what are the most important do's. For instance, what should we do? What should we understand? What should we analyze? What should we think of? You have an innovative idea in mind. You want to introduce a new technology while you are teaching. Before you do that, there are things you need to do in order to make it successful. What are those things? What do you need to think of before you start your innovation? What needs to be in your mind? There are things you need to do. What are those things? Yes, exactly. You need to, yes, be creative, make it simple. Very good. You need to make it simple. You need to understand the problem. You need to be open to mistakes. Very good. Yes. Create adaptation and openness. Yes, exactly. You need to know, you need to understand, you need to think strategically. Very good. You need to understand the problem, understand and resolve the learning. Very good. Yes. To do research, brilliant, about the problem. But is it only about the problem? Do we need to do research? Yes. About what do we need to do research? Very good. Yes, an idea like the digital natives, yes, but what need we do in order to have digital natives? There are things we need to do. Very good. That's brilliant. Available learning resources. Okay, now I'm going back to the presentation. Okay, and then let us try to answer our question here. What are the most important do's and don'ts? Slide share. Okay. Okay, now the number one in every research, every article, in anything you will read about innovation in education, they would tell you you need to understand your context. What does it mean, context? Context is simply everything. Context means you need to understand the learner, you need to understand the school policies, you need to understand the system, you need to understand the teachers, you need to have a very good idea about the context of what you want to change. If you want to change something in the classroom, you need to understand everything related to the classroom, which means the classroom as a physical setting, the classroom as learners, their emotional status, their learning status, digital literacy, everything related to the context. Why? Why is that so important? They say that the devil lies in the details, and failure is usually because of some details, some nuances. And if you don't pay attention to those nuances, I will guarantee that the innovation will not be adapted. I will tell you about a research, a very big research, it's a PhD actually, a research that I read about. Back in the days, in the 90s, they wanted to introduce technology in schools. And they used an innovation called 1 laptop per child. And they gave every child in a small village in Nigeria a laptop. And they wanted the children to learn. The laptop had learning resources. The teachers have been trained. The school policy has been changed. The educational ministry has been introduced. The laptops were shipped. The laptops were functioning. But there was one very little issue they had. This village has no electricity. Did it work? No, it didn't work. It didn't work. They went to another village and they said, okay, we will go to a village where we are 100% sure there is electricity. They went and there was electricity. The infrastructure was okay. The school was okay. The learners were okay. No problem. What was the issue? There was a cultural tradition that would say children are not allowed to own something before they reach the age of 16 or 18. The laptops were given to the child. He went home. The parents took the laptops because it is a tradition. You don't own something. You don't have something in your ownership before you turn 16 or 18. So the parents took it and put it there and sold it. Some of them even sold it because they needed money, and it failed. And for so many reasons, they went from one village to another without understanding the context, but it failed. So this is a good example about how important it is to understand the context. Now, when we want to understand the context, there is a very nice, interesting activity people do. And this activity is called the context wheel. The context wheel is the learner in the middle, because we always have to put the learner in the middle. And then we write down around the learners everything we need to know about the learner. You start write down his level of understanding, the parents' engagement, the readiness of the learner to undertake or to adapt to this innovation, the learner and his interaction with the school, the learner with his curiosity, the learner with his age, everything. You write everything around this, the learner, everything you need to know about. Understand the context is number one. And in order that you don't forget, our 3 do's begin with UPS, UPS, or UPS, like there is a very worldwide global brand of delivery, international delivery is called UPS. UPS, you understand. Don't forget. Number 1 is you. Understand your context. Do a context analysis. Identify the components of the content of the context that are important. Because when I'm telling you analyze the context, that's huge, that's very big. But in order to make it manageable, in order so that we can do it, so that I am talking about something realistic, focus on what you are going to do, the innovation you want to implement, and think about the components of that specific innovation. If it is, for instance, an EdTech innovation, something new related to technology, think about the connectivity, digital literacy, think about the parents, think about the acceptance of the parents, about the school policies related to technology and to the innovation you want to think about. Now, if it is a new teaching approach, like for instance, the students going outside of the classroom and doing something outside of the classroom, think about the learning needs, think about the policies, think about the learning objectives. Then After you do the context, you write the learner in the middle and you write the context around it, and you do identify the components. You know, you want to know about, I need to know about the connectivity. I need to know about the devices. I need to know about the digital literacy of the teacher, the digital literacy of the students, for instance, as an example. Then you decide on how are you going to get the information you need. You need information in order to analyze. Are you going to do a survey? Are you going to do an interview? Are you going to do a focus group? You need actually to decide on that. Then when you have the information you need to analyze it. But more important is not only to analyze it, which is very, very, very important. You need to communicate with the end beneficiaries or stakeholders what you want to do, why you want to do it, how you are going to do it. If you are going to introduce a new teaching approach that is, for instance, project-based, for instance, parents need to understand what you are doing. They need to accept it. They need to be supportive. How are they going to be supportive if they don't understand? Sometimes it's our mistake. We don't communicate well with the other stakeholders around, the peers, the other teachers, the school management, the parents, the learners themselves. What do we want to do? They need to understand what we want to do in order to help us. The problem is we don't communicate. For this is a very big issue. We need to do that. We need to be honest. It won't be easy. It is new. Anything new, we are the enemies of what we do not know. It will be difficult. We need to communicate all that. Number one, it's do. Is understand. Understand your context. You understand your context. Now let's move. Now, because time is running very fast, maybe Dr. Ibrahim, would you like to put now again the link for people to write down for the form where the people are going to write down their names so that we can give them their certificates? Okay, do number 2 is P. P stands for prioritize your learning needs, objectives, and outcomes. When you think about introducing something new, implementing a new innovative idea, put as a priority your learning needs, objectives, and outcomes. And what's the difference between all three? Why did I write needs, objectives, outcomes? I could have written only one. No, I cannot do that. Why? Because they are different. And because we need to put a priority on all those three. It's not only one of them. Our learning needs is the gap of where our students or learners' current level of knowledge and skills is and where we want them to be. And the required skills level, knowledge level that is required to perform a task or an assignment is the gap between both. We need to put that gap as our priority. We need to bridge that gap. This is our priority. And in order to understand that gap, we will not understand the gap if the learning objectives are not clear. We need to understand what do we want to do, and at the end, what are the students able to do in a measurable term. Objectives is what the instructor or the program or the school or the institution aims to achieve with the teaching, with the unit, with the curriculum. And the learning outcome is what the student actually is able to do after undertaking the program, the curriculum, or whatever. We need to put those three as a priority. We need to understand them. We need to focus on them. Why am I saying this? A very, very common mistake is that we lose the focus of what we want to do. And suddenly the focus turns from our learning needs, gaps, and objectives into introducing new laptops, which is a huge mistake. Okay. Now we said prioritize your learning. How do we do that? As always, what is it? And then the do, how do we do that? By putting our objectives, our outcomes in a SMART format. And most probably you all know SMART, which stands for specific. The learning objectives need to be specific, need to be measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And I give you here an example about one of those. 80% of my 5th grade learners will be able to write a 500-word essay after having completed Unit 1 of English Level 2 textbook. 80%, that means I have put my learning objective in a measurable way. Who is going to do it? I'm very specific. I am very, very specific. Who? My 5th grade learners. What are they going to do? To write 500 words. I did not write. They are able to write and read and debate, and no, it's only one. You have to be very specific. Only one very specific, very clearly defined objective. And when are they going to do it? Time bound, after completing Unit 1 of English Level 2 textbook. Is it relevant? Yes, it is relevant to the English lesson. Is it achievable? Yes, a student in grade 5 should be able to write a 500-word essay. Okay. And here, this is an activity. I don't know if we have time. No, we don't have time. We will skip that very quickly because I wanted you to come up with a couple of objectives, but this is the least important one. Now, S, we said, U, understand your context. P, prioritize your learning objectives and outcomes. And S stands for the third one, which is start with your strengths. Start with your strengths. Don't start with where the system is the weakest, but start where the system is strong, so that you have quick win-win situations, which is very important when you do an innovation. You need to see an impact quickly so that people adapt to it quickly, take it quickly. So therefore, you need to start with the strengths. Review your analysis and review and think about where are my strengths. Is it I have support from my peers? I have support from the administration? Is it the infrastructure is strong? Is it the digital literacy of the parents is strong? Parental engagement? What in the system is strong? There is nothing in the world that is called 100% weak. Nothing. But it is our failure to see the strengths. Where are our strengths? A very nice example is India. In the year 2006, there was a very interesting researcher, Sugata Mitra. Sugata Mitra went to India and made an experiment, a very innovative idea. He brought a laptop that is connected to the internet and put it in the wall. He made a hole in the wall in one of the very poor villages and put the laptop with the internet behind it. There was no support from any school, from any parent, from any trainer, facilitator whatsoever. The kids would come and would play with this new device, play with it. After a while, they found out that these children in that rural area were able to browse, to understand how to go about using the internet and to play with the games. Did anyone teach them? No. Did anyone supervise them? No. Did they learn? Yes, they learned. And there is proof that they learned, and learning happened in a very unsupportive, unsupervised way. A very innovative idea. What did he do? He started with the strengths. What is the strengths? The strengths is simply the curiosity of the children. There is no school support, there is no trainers, there is no teachers. But what is there? There are children who have curiosity. Strengths. He built on that strengths, which is very interesting. We need to think about the strengths which we sometimes forget about. And this is very quickly a very interesting thing that I have seen. I hope you can see the video. What's that? I will tell you what this is. These are teachers in one of the refugee camps in Bangladesh. What are they doing? This is something called a very innovative idea. This refugee center, this refugee camp has no teachers, no resources, no schools, but there are some volunteer people who are having some high school certificate who want to teach the children. They come together every Thursday for 2 hours, every Thursday for 2 hours. And they teach each other through trial and error. They go into the classroom and try something, and it worked. They go to their peers and tell them, I have invented a song about ABC. This is a song about ABC, but in Bengali. So they tell the other teachers about the song they have invented in the classroom, and that worked. And that was a good practice. And they teach the other teachers about the song. Every Thursday, someone would come with something that worked and would teach the others how they did it. And this is the way they develop professionally, because they have no trainers, they have no teachers. They learn from experience and disseminate that knowledge and that experience. It was very, very interesting. This was one of the teachers who invented a song and then is teaching the others how to sing the song. Okay, now let's go. Okay, now, because we don't have much time, don't, our 3 don'ts. Number one, F, FFR. We had UPS, now FFR, the 3 don'ts. Don't forget that pedagogy comes first. What is pedagogy? Is our working on the development of the skills and attitudes of the learners. Pedagogy enables the students to get through the understanding of a subject, of an assignment, of a task, or whatever, and helps them in applying the learning in their daily life. It transforming the learning so that it is usable in their daily life. There are so many different pedagogical approaches. We are not going through them. We have constructive, collaborative, project-based, reflective, inquiry-based, whatever the different approach is. These are just examples of some pedagogical approaches. Now, please don't forget the focus. The focus is our pedagogy, is our aim that the students do better, understand better, have better skills, better skill sets. Now, for instance, and this is a very quick activity in the chat box. Please, in the chat box, write down the tools, let's say technology tools, aligned to the specific pedagogical approaches. If the pedagogical approach is, for instance, communication, communicative learning, learning through communication, through the expression, what technology is useful? What can we use? Flipgrid, yes, what else? Flipgrid is good, so that the students speak to each other. talk to each other. What else is useful? Yes, Padlet. Padlet is a good idea, a good tool. Yes. What else? Any new ideas? Okay, what if I want them to collaborate? If I want them to Google Docs, Camtasia, yes, Google Docs. What if I want them to reflect and to think and to reflect? What would be good? It could be one of those also. Jamboard is good. If I want them to reflect. Mind mapping, Padlet, Seesaw, very good, very good, very good. Brainstorm, very good, yes. At the end of the day, pedagogy is the main engine that is carrying the innovation. The innovation comes second, but the pedagogy is our focus. We need always to focus on it. Now, the don't, number 2, is please don't fall into the trap that innovation is equal more technology. The brilliant, if you forget everything about this webinar, please don't forget the one thing, which is simpler is better. The simpler, the better. The simpler, the better. Less is more. Less complexity, more learning. Less complexity, more learning. Keep it simple. Don't make it complex. Learning objectives are always our driver, our driving wagon. It's the horse that is carrying the innovation. And technology is not equal innovation. It might be an innovative implementation of an idea, yes, but it is not the innovation. The innovation is to help our pedagogical approach through the innovative idea. Now comes the next one. Okay, what is that? If it happens that you use technology, technology needs to be available, accessible, affordable, adaptable, and acceptable. If you don't have those 5, forget about it. Forget about it. Don't use it. Use any innovation that has those 5: available, accessible, affordable, adaptable, acceptable. Acceptable by the parents, acceptable by the society, acceptable by the school. It needs to be available. The learners need to be able to use it. It is between their hands. It's accessible, which means it's not too expensive, not too far away. It's not having any technological barriers or connectivity barriers or whatever. It's affordable. It's between the limits of their time and their money and their ability. Sometimes we do something, it's higher than their level. It's adaptable. It can be done. It's achievable. It's realistic. Okay. Very quickly, in the last couple of minutes, this is something very interesting. You all know our nice Mr. Bloom, who invented the higher order skills, which are the 6 levels of thinking skills. And we are always aspiring to reach the higher level of thinking with our children. Now, when technology came and entered the realm of education, they changed actually Bloom's higher thinking skills. Instead of the blue ones, we have now those ones, the yellow ones, which are remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, creating. Creating is a new one, which entered with the new era of technology. Now, if I want to use technology, I have something online that's called Pedagogy Wheel. Pedagogy with A, not E. Pedagogy Wheel is a wheel that tells us about the different tools that serve the learning level that we want to reach. If I want them to remember, to understand, these are the tools. If I want them to apply, these are the tools. If I want them to evaluate, these are the tools. It's already there, and it is a wheel that is updated every year. And it is, I think, in 16 languages. The Pedagogy Wheel, if you research it, it's there in 16 languages. If we want to use technology, use your own Pedagogy Wheel and make it simple. Don't put in your wheel more than 3 tools. Padlet, Jamboard, and Google Docs. Enough. Don't say that I will put in everyone 2 or I have one for everyone. No. This is not actually the aim here. The aim is to tell you there is a very realistic and simple way to do it. Bring a circle, cut the circle or divide the circle into 6 sections, each section for one of your higher learning skills, and then put 1 tool for everyone, or 1 for 2, or 1 for 3, and look into it. Okay, this is better suited here, or this is better suited here, and think about it. Now, very quickly, the third R, which is don't rush. R is rush. Don't rush into scaling your innovation without having some evidence that it was impactful, that it was effective. How do we do that? How do we do that and not fall into the trap of rushing for scaling? Now, we do a dry run with some of the teachers and ask the teachers to use it, the innovation, to implement it. Then the teachers will give you the feedback and tell you it was difficult, it was easy, I think it needs to be improved here and there. Then you redo it. Then you go and pilot it with a simple selected group of students that is representative to your students. You pilot it, you write down your feedback. The students tell you it was okay here, not okay here, this needs to be improved, etc. Then you go back, you analyze, and come with a better version of your innovation that is more impactful, that is more effective. Now, F, don't forget pedagogy comes first. F, don't fall into the trap that innovation equals technology. R, don't rush into scaling your innovation before having proof that it was effective. And these are the 3 do's and the 3 don'ts. And thank you, and I'm open to questions. You can raise your hand, you can unmute yourself as you like. Yes, a question from Russia. Yes, Russia, unmute yourself.
No, thank you for this innovative lecture. Actually, as an economist, I do understand how the learning process that I'm doing in my university is passing through. Really, thank you for this valuable lecture, and would love to attend more pedagogy lectures and innovation in the future with your institute. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm open to questions. Any questions? Maybe Dr. Ibrahim, you would like to put the link for people so that they write down their names in the form, the names for the certificates. Maybe you would like to put the link again. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Mona. It's great. I'm really happy, and I benefited a lot. I just have one question about there was like a PISA exam or PISA test. What is it?
Okay.
I have no idea.
Yes. PISA stands for the Program for International Student Assessment. It is something that is worldwide implemented in schools, worldwide globally, and it is according to this exam where they put, you know, when they say that Egypt is not doing well in education and it's very bad, it's according to the result of that exam. The exam is, I think, for math, science, and literacy, I think, and they test grades, the 3, 4, and 5, and according to the results, they put the countries in the scale.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, the pedagogy cycle. I have a question about the pedagogy cycle. Yes, what's the question, Isra? I'm here. Yes, Isra, unmute yourself. I can go back to the pedagogy. Yes, the pedagogy wheel is a wheel that was invented. Yes, yes.
Yeah. I just want to know, how can we make use of this circle or wheel, as mentioned, as teachers? How can we use it in lesson planning or in what? Just need some information about that.
Yes. Okay. You have a lesson. You put your own lesson objectives in your notebook or wherever you write down your objectives. Now, you know, in your objectives, you have an objective that starts with the verb, I want them to understand. Yes? Understand is the second level of Bloom. We know that is one of the lower learning skills, actually. And you go online, you look for the pedagogy wheel and look for the word understand and look what are the tools that I can use that help in understanding, in developing the understanding skill. If you have, I want them to evaluate the English level of chapter blah, 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 or of an article or whatever. I want them to evaluate. You look here in the wheel, evaluate. What are the tools that are good for evaluation? Skype is good. And then you look for those. You have Google Meet is good. You have this, you have that, you have this, you have that. Then you think, what is useful tool in your context? You don't just take it. You do the understanding of, you do what we said should be done. You understand the context by identifying the components and analyzing, blah, blah, blah. And then you prioritize your learning objectives. You look into it, you understand they are the key thing that I have to focus on. And then the S, you look into the strengths. Okay, there are so many students who have Skype. Skype is very well known in my country. Then let's go for Skype. Or no, parents like Google Meet. Let's go with Google Meet. No, the students were talking about blah, blah, blah. Let's go with this. You start with your strengths. Yes. Any other questions? I'm here. We are still together. Okay.
There is a question in the chat from Carlos.
Okay, Carlos, yes. How can we integrate more DOS in the classroom, please? What do you mean with DOS? Maybe you can write it down. Carlos, does anyone know what? DOS, yes, DOS. I thought it's an abbreviation of something. How can we implement? Yes, the DOS. Now, how can we integrate more DOS in the classroom? Always think about our 3 DOS. When teach your students that if they want to do something, they need to think about the context. Teach your students also that they need to prioritize the outcomes they want to reach with their learning. Teach them how to do those do's. While you are doing them, teach them also to do them. Teach them that they have strengths. They need to understand their own strengths. They need to start with their own strengths. Teach them how to do those do's, to understand the context, prioritize what we want to reach, our learning objectives or outcomes, and the starting with our strengths. It's very important to do them, implement those, but also to teach them to our students. I hope I was able to answer. Any other questions?
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
As far as context is concerned, like I want just to discuss with حضرتك, what do you think? Sometimes we try to understand the context, but we need to change the context, or we cannot change the context. Yeah,
it's difficult. It's difficult to change the context. We need to understand the context and understand what can we do to improve the context.
Okay.
To develop the context.
Thank you very much, Habib.
Thank you. I think we can end our session. I was very happy to be with you today. And please stay tuned. There will be next month a new forum, a new webinar with a new topic, and we will inform you about it as soon as it has been decided. And thank you for attending. Thank you for your nice words.
You will send us an email for the next webinar?
Yes, and stay tuned through social media, email, you will know about it.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day.
Same to you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you.